Good morning. I'm sure at 5:30 in the morning I'm kind of speaking to myself. March the 11th, 2021. Another beautiful day in paradise. Santa Rosa, California, for those of you who don't know where I'm from. My training blog. Welcome back. For those of you who watch, thank you. For those of you who don't, thank you. What I'm doing here is just keeping track of my training process, holding myself accountable. I post videos both here on YouTube, both here and on YouTube. And every now and then somebody reaches out and says something shitty, and or every now and then somebody reaches out and says something positive. And it's actually very, very inspiring either way, because I don't allow for the self-talk of my own voice to interfere with the criticism of others, because the criticism of others is honest. It's their perception, whether it is true of you as a person and or your perceived value of what you're doing isn't important. What's important is that they're seeing it through a lens that you should at least understand. And then if it's true, you can improve upon this, and if it's not, well, then you don't need to. You don't always have to listen to the criticism of others. So that's just the way a training process goes. So anyway, that's my take on training. And basically, whatever artistic pursuit it is that you desire, there's this thing that happens fairly readily in the world. And it's from the troops, it's that din that occurs when a person exposes themselves to the criticism of their public, their community. So, and then everybody starts chiming in, and the artist, no matter what you're doing, begins to be affected by that, unless they can silence both the voices from the outside. People are like, you suck, stop what you're doing, you're a failure. And the voices on the inside that begin to match that, because you can't have that if you're going to pursue a dream without being daunted by the fact that most of the people that I know that are successful at business have failed at business more times than they've succeeded at business. They're just currently engaged in a success. So most people that I know who have become successful, who people have said, wow, he just blew up overnight, spent 15 to 20 years grinding on that flywheel and then blew up overnight. So, crazy stories, but true. Anyway, today we're dealing again with a knife and range. So if you watch, I'm repetitive. This is a training blog. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it, I guess. And if you do like it, if I'm entertaining, thank you so very much. I guess I'm trying to be entertaining, but I'm also trying to show some of what I go through during a training process, as well as, if you're inspired to do the same thing. So what I'm trying to do right now is to determine an accurate range for my knife. So right now I'm outside of anything that I could strike or grab or poke at my opponent's center point, which is his most vital areas, whether he's in the front or the rear. If I stay into the center point of any angle on the body, there are vital areas that if you puncture, like the liver, the neck, the heart, areas of the body that are fatal, versus slashing techniques, which aren't. So you also have to deal with limbs, though. And if your opponent has a weapon, like if you're in an actual combative situation where you have a knife and they have a knife, man, that's some scary shit. So, but then that's that thing that Mantis does, which is also found in Filipino arts, where they attempt to disarm by attacking the limbs. So Mantis knife would follow that. So whatever is the thing that's closest to you, even though you're practicing on something like this. So this would represent a person, obviously, without arms. So, you know, if I'm going to strike you in the face from an area that's further away, I have to use footwork, just like in boxing, and then I want to get out. I don't want to be near where I can be slashed. And then that distance is going to be a lot further than if you were attacking somebody with just your bare hands, because you can stay tighter. But when this is employed, you don't want to be anywhere near that, because even a slash across your wrist here is going to end that for you. Whether you know that or not, you'll find that out the hard way. So, that being said, you also want to practice then the idea of striking with a jab very quickly, because a lot of times the jab that you'll be throwing, so no differently than a jab in boxing or anything else, is the strike to the hand of the weapon hand. So that would just be, that's what you're going to be looking for. So you're moving around, and you pull one of those. And trust me, your dude's gone at that point. So now, the reason you know he's gone is because that last strike went behind the ear. You figured that out. That happens all the time. Boxing, bing! MMA, bing! If I hit you the way that this thing just got hit with this, you're going on. If I have a knife in my hand that has a sharp blade on it, you're gone. You're off the earth. So that, followed by that, is just learning range. That's all it does. So it doesn't matter whether I throw it here or here. The same rules apply. So I have to find not only that range where I can attack, but I have to know how to stay outside of the range where my opponent can attack and defend. So when I practice, it's nice to have a moving target so that you can do things that are risky and unorthodox against something that's slightly unpredictable, so you can fuck with your balance, figure it out. It's hard to do this when you're engaged in like full-on hard sparring. So anyway, trying to catch this movement here, 1 followed by 2, okay, is no different than overhand right and or a hook. However you want to throw that. Mantis is an expert's art. I assume you already know how to do this. So it starts with that jab, step to the right, followed by the hook. Okay? If you can touch your opponent, you can step past his foot. If you can see his foot, all of your art is based on an ancient dance. It's based on footwork. Handwork is secondary. You may be taught differently. I don't care. So, as I move, I know if I'm touching whatever's here, that this is also here. Because I can hit you in the hand right here and go boom. Do you understand this? So if I can do this, I can see the distance. I can gauge the distance. Over time, by doing this, my body just sort of knows where that is. So then, I'm not thinking about it as much. I'm just sort of plunging that blade at whatever appears into my peripheral. I may or may not hit the target. I may be wide, I may be long. So the only way to get good is to work against targets that move using footwork, and variable footwork that has speed and timing involved. So, and you should also learn to move around and away from an opponent's center line, so that when people see these moves on the internet where I'm practicing without the weapon in my hands, they look silly, and I get ridiculed a lot for that. I know. I put out some crap videos, it's okay. This shit works. It's Mantis. So whether you think I'm crap or not, it is Mantis. First things first, learn how to jab quickly with your knife. At the exterior distance. So, and again, you can practice static because a lot of guys just walk in. So just, you know, little movements, forward and back. See where I'm just staying real close, right? Start to gauge your movements. If you're not dead by the time you pull one of those, your opponent's going to be. So. Learn to be accurate and fast with both hands. So just like in boxing, where you'll be coached to be fluid, but you'll be dominant on one side or the other. Here, I want you to be fluid on both sides, because likely, you know, you're gonna need it. So, and it's gonna help your boxing a lot. First thing you gotta do, if you're old and fucking crappy like me, stay low, and then find the exterior distance. Doesn't have to be fast. Get your center, and then there, twist, punch. So it's a lot like throwing an actual jab. Okay, if you're used to boxing, this will feel okay to a certain degree. Most of you, if you pick up a Filipino art, you'll notice the huge disparity between your right and left side. So it's really no different than when you were younger and you tried to throw a baseball with your left hand versus your right hand, depending on what your dominance on right-handed or left-handedness is. Some people are equal on both sides. Some people develop a relative equal on both sides. And in martial arts, we kind of seek to do that. So that's why there's a huge emphasis on practicing both sides equally. That's never really going to be the case on some things, because you're just going to have, you know, side dominance plays out, you know, when it comes to physical skill, not just from a training perspective, but from a neurological perspective as well. So it's just one of those things you can't undo. So with a stick in your hand, you know, left-handed, a good drill to practice is where you're striking down on something, so that you get used to these movements that you can strike as you attack, strike, attack. So it's that the left hand should be able to strike with some type of skill. So you start slow, bang, bang, bang. You turn your body. So you use the weapon. Try not to hit your wall early in the morning. So attack, 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 attack. You can see these movements where your left hand can still be powerful. So you just have to learn to make it so by being fluid and accurate as well. So hitting somebody in the head with that movement is hard. You'll miss a lot. Striking in the body with that movement is way easier. And dude, that'll take the wind out if it hits you in the liver. It really is gonna hurt. So, and then learning to punch with your left hand so that you don't rise up, just like if you were punching up. So your range determines where you can hit from. So learning to be fluid with your stick as you move in, so that it's like relatively equal. Ow, that would have hurt. Does that hit me in the nuts? Yes. Did I say nuts? Can I say that? Oh. It's like, oh! Gotta be aware. So, when you're training, speed, accuracy, power, whack, learn movements that are first slow, boom, 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 but then that have speed and power behind it. As you pick up your speed, you'll have more fluid movements, and they'll have something on them. So it takes a lot of practice to become fluid with your right and left hand. Some people don't know this. It's okay. Let them figure it out. Parry. Parry. This movement here is a parry. So, but if you're in tight, you can use your stick to push through and then back. So this becomes a hook. So if your opponent's grabby and you push this through one side and he tries to get a body lock, and I'm telling you what, this followed by underhooking with it gives you a tremendous advantage. As he tries to sort that out, you're going to be able to, unless he locks this. So if he has a body lock on you, you're in a bad shape, really bad spot. So you have to learn how to use Mantis and or close in fighting such that, you know, it becomes something that you're good at. So you have to stay low. You have to understand wrestling. You're not just a striker who's going to be completely impervious because you're coming over the weapon. Because, you know, a lot of guys will have stick bounce off of them and they won't even feel it because they're going to be so adrenalized, or if they're on drugs or something. Like, sticks are like major deterrents at best. That's why when you look at the progression of war, not a lot of dudes went out to war with sticks. Sort of a losing proposition. However, if you're just trying to protect yourself from your average citizen who is maybe trying to rob you, that might be okay. Probably you're using a stick because you live in a country who outlawed the carrying of a weapon of some sort. Which, you know, we all live under some sort of religious, political, economic influence that suggests civility and maybe a populace that isn't killing itself. So footwork is something that you'll always be required to do. Almost every sport has it. Whoa, getting crazy. I do shit like that because it's fun. Tires me out. I'm an old man trying to stay in shape. It's hard. maybe. When you woke up this morning, oh man, what were you thinking of? Were you excited? Did you say to yourself, man, I can't wait to start training. I can't wait to get out there and do whatever it is that I like to do. Whatever that is, I hope you're successful at it today. And if you're not, remember, most of us fail our way to success. That's the way it works. Keep rocking it. Have a great day. Persevere through any hard times. You're gonna have them. We all do. Now get out of my garage. Jesus. Too old for this.